It's Johnny V, long time no see. Haven't done a live video in a while. The river is super high. The river's cresting today or tomorrow. It's gonna be cresting here in New Orleans and going back down, but look how high it is. It's up to the top step. Top step, there's usually a bunch of steps here. There's usually a bunch of steps that go down into the river, but right now there's no steps. River, you can see the river's moving super fast, super duper fast. I'm out here at Audubon Zoo. It's not the zoo, Audubon Park. Audubon Zoo's right over there, but this is Audubon Park, and this is called the Fly. This is on the unprotected side of the levee. We're in the Batcher actually, but it's a activity area where there's like soccer fields and maybe tennis courts. I think it's just soccer fields. There's a lot of soccer fields and baseball fields though for kids to play. I mean, it feels really cool. The water is cooler temperature. The water's a cooler temperature. I mean, you wouldn't want to jump in it, I don't think. I mean, you could live in it for a little while, maybe 20-30 minutes, and you might get hypothermia because it's only May 1st. The water's coming from up north, and up north it's still super cold. Still, the snow, I think the snow just about all totally melted by now, but I'm sure there's some higher elevations where the snow is melting still, and it's going to be dripping downhill. And this river is the main watershed for North America. Even Canada, parts of Canada drains down into the United States, and you can see how the rocks, there's like steps of rocks here, but you can see the fencing. They tied the rocks together so the rocks wouldn't go away when the water recedes. These rocks, big pebbles, big rocks, are held in place by these, I want to call it fences. It's just like fence material. Hey, what's up? I'm on the river, Mississippi River here, New Orleans, Louisiana. Overcast day. It rained a little bit today, but not, only a few drops. We need rain because it hasn't rained in a while. Everything's kind of dry, but I was trying to show like the steps. You can see the step here. Those are steps. There's like, I don't know, there's at least 4 or 6 steps. The river's super high right now. It's at 16 point something feet, 16.6 feet. And the United States Army Corps of Engineers was considering what they may have to do to alleviate some of this water. They can open up the spillway. That's what they do. That's what it's designed to do. That's what it does. They don't want this water getting any higher, because even a foot higher here would be bad. If this water was a foot higher, it'd be, up to here. Maybe, that's a foot. 2 feet would be up to here. It'd be all this would be flooded. If the river was 2 feet higher here. You can see a big piece of wood floating, big piece of driftwood. It's moving super fast, super dangerous right now on the river. A lot of currents. If the river was 2 to 3 feet higher, all this would be flooded. And this never happened because the United States Corps of Engineers won't allow that to happen. They'll just keep opening up bays. There's 350 bays they can open that divert water into the Lake Pontchartrain, but that's an ecological disaster, because when you divert all that fresh water into the brackish lake Pontchartrain, and then eventually, of course, the lake diverts the water out into nice little sunglasses. Eventually, of course, the lake is connected to the Gulf of America, and that water is connected. The Gulf of America is huge, and of course that's connected to the Atlantic Ocean. It's huge connection actually, down through Cuba, Puerto Rico, and all out through the Caribbean. Hey, where you watching from? 5 people? Smash the thumbs up button for me. Oh, look at that bird trying to go fishing. Somebody left a good pair of sunglasses. Why can't I find a good pair of sunglasses? I always find the dollar store sunglasses. That's an Avington bike. That's the same kind of bike I have. Electric bike. That's a big one though. That's a big rig. It's one of those $2,000 jobs. How y'all been? Y'all doing all right? Drop a comment. Let me know where y'all watching from. I flew into New Orleans yesterday. See my sons and my wife. Super high, huh?
Well, it's amazing how high it gets from normal.
Yeah. Super high today. I think it's about as high as it's gonna get. Cresting today or tomorrow. They're fine. Yeah, they're fine. They know how high that water gets before they start opening the spillway. Talk about those houses down there in Jefferson Parish. I did a video on that where they built several houses in the Batcher. See how the steps are like covered with like fencing? I did a video on that a while ago. Yeah, maybe I should go there on the way back because people live on those. There's maybe 8 or 10 houses where people live in the Batcher, which now you can never build a house. But they grandfathered in and they allow them to keep those houses and keep living in them, but they can't build any further. But yeah, the water's like 2 feet from going in their house, but they know how high the water gets before the government pulls the plug. It's like pull the plug and like lets the water drain. I mean, it's already leaking. The water's already leaking through the pins. It's hard to explain, but there's a concrete structure and they got wooden pins. I mean, 8 or 10 foot wooden pins. And they pull these pins with a crane and allows the water to go through over the concrete because it's so much higher. The water level is so much higher on the riverside. But it's being held in by these wooden pins. And these wooden pins are maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches wide, and it has several of them. There's 350 bays, and there's like maybe 10 or 15 pins on each bay. So we're talking about, 4,000, 5,000 of those pins. It takes a long time, but they only open maybe 8 to 10 bays at a time. They usually start in the middle because they don't want the erosion problems and stuff. So they start in the middle. It's like 2 miles wide, I want to say. 1.5 miles wide to 2 miles wide, the structure that they built in the 1930s. And they open like 10 bays, and that sends a lot of water into the spillway. And the spillway is probably flooded already because it's been leaking for so long, so many weeks already. The level of the water there has been so high already. A little bit of water. I'm not talking about millions of gallons. I'm talking about maybe hundreds of gallons or thousands of gallons a day. And when you're talking about an area so large, 10,000, 20,000 gallons an hour is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. So they're dumping. So right now, maybe 20,000 gallons an hour. So 20,000 gallons an hour. We're talking about 500,000 gallons of water a day. That's not a lot when you're talking about an area so large. And they got these in the spillway. They got little canals, and not canals, but they have little lakes, and the lakes fill up for the low areas fill up first, of course. And once all the low areas are filled, then all of a sudden you just can't see any land anymore. Then the whole spillway is covered in water, and that's draining very slow downhill path from the higher Mississippi River into the lower lake. But that's like a 5 or 7 mile journey. But it just takes a while for that water to come from the Mississippi River slowly downhill, down path, underneath the interstate, underneath the railroad bridges. Because there's like airline highway, it's a major highway. It goes underneath the airline highway bridge. There's a bridge underneath the airline highway bridge, and it'll go underneath a railroad bridge, a long railroad bridge. Then it'll go underneath the interstate. Then once it goes underneath the interstate, you're out in the lake, because that's where the lake is. The lake is the most northern part. I say, because that's the way the river's running right now is actually west to east. but you know, it's mostly a north-south river. It starts up north, but right now the city is west to east, and the river runs from the west to the east, more or less. The city's like shaped like a crescent. The river's shaped like a crescent. It's called the Crescent City because of the way the river is running. Oh, look, I found a spark plug. I'm in New Orleans. This is the Mississippi River. It's super high right now. Super high right now. But because of all the watershed from the up north, all the snow's melting. Every year this happens, March, usually middle of March, end of March, and it's all during April, May, you know, all through, usually up until June and July sometimes. But you know, the United States Corps of Engineers was considering opening the spillway to divert some water upriver, 20 miles upriver. It's like when you get out of the city, there's a little, I say little, it's like a mile wide. There's 350 bays. The bays are maybe 15 to 20 feet. Okay, we can figure it out. The bays are 20 feet wide each. So that's 350 times 20. It's 7,000 feet. 7,000 feet wide. So just over a mile, mile and a half almost. And that water goes all the way underneath a few major highways, underneath a railroad bridge, and underneath the interstate. And it goes out into a huge lake. It's Lake Pontchartrain. It's actually, Lake Pontchartrain is an estuary, which means it's part of like the grand scheme of things, the Gulf of Mexico and all that. So the lake is connected to the Gulf of Mexico, or the Gulf of America, whichever you prefer. And the lake drains slowly through there. But the lake is brackish water. Brackish water is a mixture of salt water and fresh water. And of course the river here, Mississippi River, is all fresh water. It's all fresh water. So when you put fresh water into salt water, they don't mix very well. And so you get what they call algae blooms, and it's a fish kill. And it kills millions and millions of fish, and it really hurts the fishing industry. You know, because all this water is being diverted into Lake Pontchartrain, and then that mixes and it creates algae blooms, and then the water is then eventually dispersed out into the Gulf of Mexico through a small portion, which is about 45 minutes east of here in a city called Slidell, which is where the lake dumps. It doesn't dump. It's like the lake is just, the water is a little bit higher than the Gulf of America, so it eventually drains out slowly, very slowly. But if you look at a map, the Lake Pontchartrain is huge. There's a bridge that goes across it that's 26 miles long. So if you get from the north shore to the south shore, we're here in the south shore in New Orleans. But yeah, it's really a beautiful area. Usually the college kids are out here sunning during the day. I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning here, no, 9 o'clock in the morning. But the kids will come out here with their towels and they'll lay down here, and it's like it's almost like a beach, you know, because we don't have any beaches here. But look how fast the water's moving. You can see all those barges across. UK? No, not in the UK. I mean, United States, and one of the most southernmost parts of the United States. I'm very close to the Gulf Coast. In Central America and Central United States, we have a Gulf Coast, a Gulf of America, or the Gulf of Mexico, whatever you want to call it these days. Who knows what it's really called? And the Gulf of America is part of the Caribbean. It goes out into the Caribbean Sea. And the Caribbean Sea, of course, is connected to the Atlantic Ocean. You can go all the way to the UK. You can take a boat from here to the UK, very simple. You just go down about 2 hours in a ship, then you're out in the Gulf of Mexico. And you're out there, you hang a left, you go east, then you'll have to go under Florida, between Florida and Cuba. There's a 90-mile, it's a straight, almost a straight. 90 miles is about 150 kilometers, if you use kilometers. Cubans try to make it to the United States all the time, and all the time in handmade boats, man-made boats, and usually with disastrous results, because it looks like I can see the land, I can see the United States. At one time there was something called a wet foot, dry foot policy. I think this is like 40, 50 years ago. The United States government said if you can make it here, you can stay. But those days are long. Those days are long over. But I mean, back then they said if you can build a boat and you can get here, you can stay, because amnesty from Cuba and all that stuff, all those political problems that I know very little about. But I know that they said there was a wet foot, dry foot policy. I think it was about 40 years ago, like late 70s or early 80s. And a lot of Cubans came here seeking amnesty or seeking asylum. I don't know the correct word. They had to get out of there because times are terrible. Times are terrible. I mean, times still are terrible for Cuba, but I mean, what can you do? It's very hard now. You have to get to Mexico first. I mean, I think Cubans can go to Mexico, actually. A lot of people can go to Mexico, but I mean, life in Mexico is not the greatest. There's a lot of dangerous parts. I mean, just like there's a lot of dangerous parts here. A lot of dangerous parts in New Orleans. I'm risking my life right now, Some people say, oh, you're in that dangerous city, New Orleans, where all those murders are. Yeah. My mama didn't like when I'd come out here. I mean, my mama moved in the 60s before I was born. She had to get out of here. 1965, they got out of here. It was getting too dangerous, and he said, we can't raise a family here. This is this is the story they told me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or indifferent or anything like that. I'm just telling you what the story that they told me. I've never lived here in my life. I live 5 miles that way. 5 miles. It takes me 6 minutes to get home from here. But I'm in a different jurisdiction. It's not New Orleans, it's called Metairie. And that's where a lot of people left in the 60s and 70s. I mean, you could buy cheap houses and start a new life out there. But that was pretty much nothing out there in the 40s. In the 40s and 50s, there was nothing. There's like there's a little train you can come out here for, like, let's go out to Metairie. That's like the the Sunday drive. Let's take a Sunday drive to Metairie. You take a streetcar. There used to be a streetcar on like rails. It's like, y'all call it probably I don't know, I forgot what y'all call it. Like a trolley. Y'all call it probably a trolley, but we call them streetcars. And so like in the 40s, and I think even in the 30s and 40s, there was a streetcar that went from New Orleans to Metairie, but it didn't go very far into Metairie. It stopped. This here is a zoo. That's the zoo, the Audubon Zoo. You can see the top here of one of the habitats for the animals. Hey Braden, what's up? I'm in New Orleans. We can do a drive today. I was trying to explain some part of New Orleans, how the river system works, and that's the Mississippi River. Oh, there's a boat. I should have been over there. See if I can make it over there. See if I can make it over there. It's a tug. I think it's a tug. I think it's a tug pushing a barge. Yeah, that's a tug. I was trying to explain how the spillway works, and any of the 2 people that are watching, smash the thumbs up button for me, subscribe if you haven't, all that good stuff. I'm here for a week. I'm gonna be doing some New Orleans videos, and then I gotta go back to Florida. Yeah, good jobs are not so easy to find in New Orleans. I mean, you can find a little bullshit job, yeah. You wanna make $10 or $12 an hour, but what am I gonna do with $10 or $12 an hour? I mean, my bills are more than that. I'm sorry. I have a car note that's almost paid. I owe 1.5 payments on it still. So the one payment is due today or tomorrow. It's $396. Then I owe about $300 more. I don't even owe a whole other payment. I'm gonna pay it off early. I signed up for a 5-year loan, but it's only been 4 years and a month, so I've been paying extra when I had it. Sound music. We can't have music in my stream. Hopefully it doesn't crush my stream. All right, I'm gonna have to try to. Where's the mute? Mute, 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 mute. Where's the sound? Celebrity Wheel of Fortune? No, I didn't see it. What happened in Celebrity? Who was the who were the celebrities? Who are the celebrities, Braden? A nice little place to watch the river. Hey, what's up, my friends? I'm out here on the Mississippi River, where it's super high. This is gonna be the highest it gets this year, because it's cresting today or yesterday, and then it's gonna start receding. But look how high it is up to the banks. That's usually like 5 or 6 steps down. You could walk down these steps made out of rock. You can see these steps right here. Doesn't really look like steps, but it's like 5 or 6 steps. You can't even see them because it's so muddy. There's 5 or 6 steps that go down here. All these bags of concrete, look. Those are bags of concrete that somebody just dumped a bag of concrete there to help with erosion, because sometimes they have these little holes right here of erosion. It's trying to erode away, and we're trying to protect this because this has been like this for a long time. You can see these concrete bags of concrete somebody just dumped here to help with erosion. This really needs to be replaced, but now's not the time to do it. You have to do something like that like in January or February, when the river's super low, when it's way down, when the river's like, it's gonna take a month maybe to fix it, to do it right. If I was rich, I would have this fixed. You're talking about $500,000 to do it right, probably, just for this area from there to down there. Cost like maybe $500,000 would do a lot of good. But if I was rich, if I was like super rich, I would have it done. I would have it done right, and fix this kind of stuff. This is falling apart. These old, I think they're railroad ties. This railroad tie fell in. See, this one not only broke, but it fell into the water right there. But I think when the water goes down, it's gonna stay there. I hope it doesn't go out into the river, because that's big. It's a big piece of wood. You wouldn't want to hit that on a ship. This is a problem here. The city addressed it many years ago, and I guess they did a temporary fix. Here's a railroad tie. It's a pin that you hit into the. It's a shame people throw their trash in here, really. Such a pretty area. Why would you throw trash into the river? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Why be so selfish and just, you can't take the trash back to your car? Why? Beautiful river, and they're gonna throw trash into it. This is a problem here, see? You can see the concrete bags of cement that someone put to try to help with the erosion. Another huge hole right here. Because right now the levees are under pressure. A lot of pressure. The levee is over there. We're in the unprotected part of the river right now, but I don't know if you were here earlier, you heard that the river never gets any higher than this. This is about as high as you will ever see the river, because if it got any higher, they would start opening the bays and the spillway, and that would divert water into the Lake Pontchartrain. And so they would keep this, like if they had like a huge storm of rain up north in Missouri or Iowa or wherever, Minnesota, where the river starts. If there was a huge rainstorm or something, they would have to open it, right? Because they would maintain this level. They would keep opening the bays, as many as possible, up to 315 of the bays, until the water stopped rising. I mean, they're a lot smarter than I am. Obviously, they're engineers. But there's another tugboat. Boots on the ground? No. Boots on the ground from 803 Fresh? No. I don't never heard of that song. I never heard of 803 Fresh. I don't even know what that is, Braden. I know there's a tug on the river right now pushing some barges. I'm standing on what's called the East Bank. Even though I'm south of the river right now, it's funny because the river changes directions, you know, the way it goes. So right now the river's running from west to east. The upriver is west of here actually, but I mean in 90% of the other parts of the country, the river's running directly north-south. From, you know, it's draining down south from up north, and but here the river runs from the west to the east. So there's the west bank and the east bank. And when I was a kid, I used to hear in the story that, oh, there's problems on the west bank. I mean, they show on these war zone and stuff because, you know, talking about the Middle East. And I don't even know the country. What is it, near Israel or whatever? Or I don't even know. I should know more about that. But I mean, it's a million miles away from here. So now I'm interested. I wasn't interested 40, 50 years ago when I heard it on the news, but now I'm interested in that kind of stuff. And I want to go visit Israel one day to see, you know, the mother where Jesus was born and all that stuff. But I want to go to Nazareth, but they're super dangerous right now. And especially for a gringo like me. You know, people see me and they just assume I'm rich because I'm white and I'm from the United States, or gringo. Even, you know, from somewhere from North America, I'm rich. Oh, if you're from Canada, you're rich. If you're from the United States, oh, you're rich. You know, they don't understand that. Yeah, I'm not poor. I'm not living check to check. Hopefully, you know. But I mean, people see that as being rich because I can actually pay the bills next month without having to worry. I mean, they can't do that, I guess, you know. They don't know where their next food's coming through. I mean, you know, fortunately, I've never had that problem, you know, but they assume everybody, they just see every gringo as a rich person that, oh, I can afford to give them a couple $100, like, which I can't. I mean, maybe one person, but I can't give 5 or 10 people $100. No, that's gonna put a serious hurting on my finances when I'm only making, you know, what, $150, $250 a day in my regular little job I got. In my YouTube, I make like $100 a month. So, but I mean, this is just a hobby. This is not doing this for income. I want to see if I can pick up this piece of wood. Set it free. That should be enough. It's gonna go out that way now. Let's see how fast it floats out. Yeah, you can see it wants to go already. I don't know if I saw you. That way is downstream. Probably can see the way the water's moving. Down that way is the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe 2 hours. 2 hours by cruise ship. 2.5 at the most. I don't know how fast they can go, what's the speed limit or whatever. Because you can almost put the boat in neutral. If I had a kayak, I would love to do it, but it's super dangerous. I mean, maybe when the river is like a lot lower, you could do it, but at this time of the season, no. They got the rip currents underneath. That the currents are so bad. And I don't think you can swim across it. I mean, even if you were a good swimmer, I don't think you can swim across the river at this time. Now, other times of the year, maybe, yeah, like August, September, October. If you're a good swimmer, you probably could do it. Even if you're an excellent swimmer, you could do it. But you're never going to see anybody in this river swimming because it's super dangerous. And what if you're out there and you just got a cramp? You're just dead. You're just dead. There's no one can get out there and save you that fast. There's no one here watching. There's no one, you know what I'm saying? You'd have to have some kind of support crew in a little powered boat, a little flat boat or something, minimum, you know, like a minimum 12-foot boat. You wouldn't want to be out here in anything smaller. I mean, if you're out here in like a 15-foot kayak and you knew what you were doing, maybe you have a shot. But I mean, the current's going to take you where it wants to take you. I mean, I don't even think you have to paddle. Look how far that little piece of driftwood gone already. And once it gets out in the middle out there, it's going to start moving super fast. What about Lost Train from Confolkshun? No, never heard any of that, buddy. I don't listen to any music really, so I'd have to say no to just about anything you said if it's about music. It's Overlook A. I didn't know they had a name. This is Audubon Park, a facility of Audubon Nature Institute. Overlook A. What should I get for breakfast? Or is it too late to eat breakfast? It's almost 10 o'clock. It's almost 10 o'clock. It's probably too late to eat breakfast. See, I'm in New Orleans, so what should I get for lunch? Sounds stupid, but I might go to a fast food place. Chicken fingers called Raising Cane's. It was actually started, I think, in Baton Rouge. It's about 90 minutes north of here. Upriver, on the river, actually. Baton Rouge is on the river also. A river town. I mean, a lot of the major cities are on the river because of commerce and trade and all that stuff. I might go to Raising Cane's because when I'm in Florida, the Raising Cane's like 20-25 minutes away. It doesn't sound like a long way, but if you just want to go grab lunch, you don't really want to get in a car and drive somewhere 25 minutes away, do you? Me, you know, I like to stay close. I like to go somewhere 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm like the typical gringo. I want instant gratification. I want the food and I want it now. And I don't want to wait 20 minutes when I get there either. All right, guys. Let me flip the camera around and say goodbye. It's Johnny V out here. Do I look better with my sunglasses on? Oh, I found these glasses, did I tell you? These are not bad. I'm gonna clean them up when I get home, put some alcohol on them. See if I can get the germs off of them. Look how gray I'm getting. Got my Florida Panthers hockey team. Johnny V out here in the river. Peace out, guys.